Good afternoon. I am Reverend Patrick Ian Jackson, and I'm coming to you from the Church on Northland, aka First Baptist Church, Church of the Brethren here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. This is the last installment of our weekly video Lenten reflections, just a few minutes each week to help give you some food for thought in this journey toward the cross. Today's entry is from the section entitled In the Wrong Temple. Again, it's in the wrong temple, and it's based on John 2:19 through 21. And this is the New Revised Standard Version. Jesus answered them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." Then the Jews said, "This temple has been under construction for 46 years, and will you raise it up in 3 days?" But he was speaking of the temple of his body. Now, this passage from John 2 is found in the section entitled Jesus Cleanses the Temple. This event takes place after Jesus has arrived in Jerusalem for the Passover. Now, as the story goes, Jesus walked around the temple courts in Jerusalem and did not like what he saw. Verse 14 reads, "In the temple he found people selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and the money changers seated at the tables." We find Jesus' response in the succeeding verses. Making a whip of cords, he drove all of them out of the temple, with the sheep and the cattle. He also poured out the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. He told those who were selling the doves, "Take these things out of here. Stop making my father's house a marketplace." Those who observed the commotion demanded that Jesus give them a miraculous sign to prove that he had the authority to do what he did. It is at this point that Jesus responds with the verse I read at the outset, and that forms the basis of Brueggemann's entry for Palm Sunday. Now, if you've spent any time reading the Gospels, you'll know that Jesus often spoke in parables and metaphors. The people's response to Jesus' statement here showed that they didn't understand what he meant by temple. Now, with this as the backdrop, the foundation, Brueggemann essentially asks us, what temple are you in? Are you hanging out in the temple that is the focus of this world? A temple that Brueggemann argues reflects the malls, the theaters, the markets, indulgence, when we should be thinking about Jesus and death and obedience and suffering and new life and joy. Quite a question. Brueggemann further declared that the news, and I would put parenthetically the good news, is that this temple called Jesus is our true habitat. That is where we are bound in faith to live our life and put our buckets down and dream our dreams and claim our identities. So again, what temple are you in? Are you in the temple that tries to figure it out on your own, the temple that is bound by what the world says and what the world thinks? Are you in the temple that tries to rely all on your own strength or your own wits to live? Are you living in the temple that doesn't see any solution to the despair in the world? Are you living in a temple that makes you feel like you have to be alone, or that no one understands or no one can help you in the midst of your situation? Jesus is calling us to him. He's reminding us that he is the one that we seek. He's the one who we focus on. He's the one who can help us out of this prison of the world's perspectives, its indulgences, its seductions. And so it is him that we are to ultimately put our trust in. Just some food for thought. Thanks everyone for tuning in to these past several weeks, these few minutes of faith, as it were, as we've examined Jesus' journey to the cross through the lens of Walter Brueggemann. I pray that you have a blessed Holy Week and a joyous Resurrection Sunday. Remember, If you ever find yourself in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, feel free to join us on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. for worship, which streams live on our YouTube page entitled The Church on Northland. Know that you're loved by God and by us. Be blessed.